Now that the time-traveling, body-hopping Omega Red has set his sights on ending the long life of Logan the Wolverine, how will the old Knucklehead be able to protect history? Well, let's hop into the pages of X Lives of Wolverine issue number 4 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the penultimate issue of this series, praise the one above all because we actually get some new timelines to play around in. We see a young Logan during his years being experimented on by Dr. Cornelius and Weapon Plus, only this time instead of getting the adamantium grafted to his body, Omega Red actually takes over Cornelius's body and tries to kill Logan before he can become the Wolverine we all know. Honestly, this is such a good, solid idea. I'm amazed the whole series wasn't just about this. Why did it take Omega Red so long to pull off this particular plot? Oh, and it doesn't stop there either because we also get to check over in Japan, wherein a young kamikaze pilot by the name of Kenji Oyama is currently about to be sent to Pearl Harbor to do his nation's duty, only this time he ends up getting his mind and body taken over by Omega Red 2 so he can crash his plane into a boat that just so happens to currently be hosting Professor Xavier's own father. Oh, so I guess Omega Red hasn't given up his original plot of killing Xavier. I guess when you're omnipresent across all of time and space, you can multitask. The American sailors are pretty surprised when they look up in the sky and see reinforcements from the Canadians. Well, one Canadian to be exact, Wolverine. Despite being an infantryman for the entirety of his military career, Wolverine grabbed himself a plane and is now trying to make the save. Now, elsewhere in time, we also check back in that story that was going on in Colombia. You'll remember that Wolverine himself had actually had his mind and body taken over by Omega Red and was now going to kill Xavier. But in a surprise twist, an unlikely ally ends up showing his face in the form of Sabertooth, who is still trying to kill Wolverine as revenge for turning on him and Maverick back in the jungle. The best part is Omega Red actually tries to get Sabertooth on his side, saying that one day he will be done wrong by Krakoa and Professor X too, but at this point in history, Victor Creed has no idea what any of that stuff means. And the surprises don't stop there either, as we discover Wolverine was actually able to survive getting killed on the assembly line by Dr. Cornelius thanks to the Null Symbiote. And you're probably thinking, wait, when did that happen? Did Benjamin Percy just make that up for this story? No, actually, Donny Cates made it up and already changed history back during his Web of Venom series. In that story, a small piece of Knull had actually imprinted on Wolverine, and now it's activating itself years early to try and protect itself from getting killed by Cornelius. It's here, thankfully, with all the stages set, we're actually able to listen to Wolverine's internal monologue, and he actually starts getting into the nitty-gritty about time and a life long lived. He talks about how he spent a lot of time running from his past, from all the bad things that he had done, and now that he has Krakoa, a home, a family, a flag, and an anthem to fight for, he thought now may officially be the time to stop running. Unfortunately, with situations like this, the past never really stays buried for poor Wolverine. It's always around the corner waiting to bite him. However, Wolverine has grown and matured, and he says that he thinks about his life and the wrongs he's done completely differently now than he ever has before. Before, Wolverine spent so much of his long life thinking about all the different ways in which time had hurt him, but now, though, he's begun to think of all the different times over the years wherein his very existence hurt other people and changed history. You see, Kenji Oyama, that kamikaze pilot that Wolverine manages to stop that day, he wasn't just any old guy, he's actually Lady Deathstrike's father, and the guy who will end up coming up with the process for bonding adamantium to the human body, only because he was so horribly shamed this day on this particular mission. Also, while the Null Symbiote had managed to save the life of Logan that day, Cornelius managed to vanquish what little bit of the space parasite was left behind, and in doing so was only further emboldened to continue his experiments with adamantium and the creation of Weapon X. And finally, we have Sabertooth in the Colombian mission. Victor actually wins the fight against Wolverine, killing him and returning him to Team X for more brainwashing. Going into this dangerous mission, Xavier and Jean Grey worried about the fingerprints they would leave on time, but now it seems that Wolverine's entire existence is one giant flat circle. It's also one of those time travel stories that makes me stop and think, wait, so if Wolverine had never gotten involved the way he did, all of these things would end up happening anyway, or did they only end up happening because because he got involved the way he did. I wish I had a healing factor to cure this time travel-induced headache I'm currently suffering from. You know, Austin Powers really was light years ahead of the rest of media when it said, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed, well, just go along with it and try and have fun. With Wolverine having actually died at the hands of Sabertooth in Colombia, it ends up actually creating an opening for Mikhail Rasputin to reach on in. I'm guessing this was part of his plan all along, wait for Xavier and Jean to screw up, get tired, so that way he could finally have a foothold on Krakoa. But I guess I can't be certain until I read the next and final issue. And so that was X Lives of Wolverine issue number 4, everybody, and ultimately I thought it was fine. It was definitely a lot more fresh and interesting than the couple issues that preceded it. But sadly, I don't think it ends up rising above a lot of the problems that are inherent with time travel stories in comic books. What actually matters? What doesn't matter? Did the characters actually grow and evolve, and are they changed at the end of the story? It sounds like Wolverine did get a pretty big character shift, just it happened off-panel and not in the story. Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of a time-traveling Wolverine being forced to face his demons and also the victims that he may have inadvertently created in his early years as an angrier, more rebellious mutant. I just don't think that's this story. Also, despite all my early praise for Omega Red and how this story actually makes him a real honest-to-goodness threat, again, this issue I think ends up pantsing him. Omega Red literally could not kill Wolverine when he was at his absolute weakest. He was also only ever really a smokescreen distraction set up by Mikhail, who I guess ends up walking away as a pretty devious chess master when it's all said and done. Hell, old-timey Sabertooth actually kills Omega Red in Wolverine's body, so what should that tell ya? The dude has godlike time-hopping abilities, and yet he still couldn't actually make any of it work for him. A shame, really. Overall, I'd give this one a 6.5 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind-the-scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.